Turkey is the main actor in the region, defending Turkey's arguments. Contacts made by Tom Barak, U.S. Ambassador to Ankara and Special Representative for Syria in the Middle East, are seen as a sign of a new search for balance in the region. Security sources stated that Washington emphasized Turkey's position as the main actor and decision-maker in the region in steps that will reshape the entire region, particularly Syria. Security sources indicated that the U.S. wants to position Turkey not only as a neighboring country but also as a constructive regional power in this equation. Security sources evaluated Barak's Middle East tour to Yeni Kafuk, Turkey's normalization steps in Iraq and Syria, new steps taken in the Eastern Mediterranean, and strategic relations developed with Gulf countries are seen as parts of a whole. Noting that all these steps are progressing in coordination, the sources say that Turkey's role as a central country in the region is part of establishing a stable structure in the region. Barak's double hat is nitrogen monoxide coincidence in Barak's appointment as both ambassador to Ankara and special representative for Syria is also seen as part of this strategy. Security sources emphasize that this appointment is not symbolic but a conscious choice. Barak is reported to have adopted a stance close to Turkey's position on Syria and to have distanced himself from autonomous structure models that would upset the balance in the region. Separatist structures are being prevented in order to reduce tensions in the region. Barak is in active contact not only with Ankara and Damascus, but also with Tel Aviv. He emphasizes that the U.S. policy, which focuses on Israel's security, also promotes a more centralized and integrated solution model by preventing separatist structures in Syria. The U.S.'s real target is China, according to security sources. The U.S.'s recent moves in the Middle East are not limited to regional stability or Israel's security. Washington's main goal in its long-term strategic plan is to limit China's rise. In this context, Turkey stands out as a critical balancing power for the U.S., both in terms of its geographical location and regional influence. According to security sources, the steps taken by the U.S. in the Middle East are not only a search for regional balance, but also part of a global strategy. The main target of this strategy is China. Washington is expanding its efforts to limit Beijing's growing economic influence and investments in the defense sector. China's infrastructure investments, energy agreements, and defense partnerships, which in recent years have extended beyond the Middle East to a wide geography stretching from Africa to South America, are being closely monitored by the U.S. Beijing, which is expanding its economic sphere of influence with the Belt and Road Initiative, is also becoming an increasingly assertive actor in the security field with advanced weapons systems and military base projects. There will be no free SDG state. U.S. Ambassador to Ankara and Special Representative for Syria Tom Barak used expressions close to Turkey's sensitivities in his statement, emphasizing that the SDG is directly related to the YPG and PKK. Barak said, "We have no obligation to establish an independent state for them. There will be no free Kurdistan. There will be no free SDG state." Barak said, "We are not dictating anything to anyone. The SDG you refer to is the YPG, and the YPG is the PKK. The PKK has begun to lay down its arms today. This is a major issue for Turkey. The YPG is an offshoot of the PKK and is a structure with which we have been working together against ISIS." Barak acknowledged that a sense of debt toward the SDG has developed in the U.S. public opinion, emphasizing that this debt is not for independence but for contributing to the political integration process. Barak said, "We are not indebted to them for the right to establish an independent state within a state. What we owe them is to provide a reasonable transition process. In this new regime, it is necessary to be reasonable about how they will integrate with a single Syria." Barak stated that Syria's unitary structure must be preserved, saying, "In Syria, you cannot establish an army where Kurds dress like Kurds and Druze dress like Druze. There will be a single structure, thus closing the door on separatist models."